So Ernie, tell us.
Hey, Big E here. I'm with the Big E Ernie Hunt.
Yeah. I was born in Swift Current, 1926. And I was the third one.
Third child?
Pardon me, I was the fourth one.
Fourth child?
I was the fourth child. Now, my mother lost a little boy, 8 months old. He was 8 months. And she lost him. Then we lost Jack. See the Jack up on that picture right there?
Yes.
He was a fighter pilot in the Second World War.
Wow.
Flying with
Your brother?
Yeah, with the bombers. You know, when they were bombing, he was escorting. He was escorting the bombers. Yeah.
Can we take a look at this picture?
Oh, certainly, it's right there. Yeah.
Oh, and you even got the Remembrance Day pin on there.
We had a picture of that at our house for a long time.
Yeah, that's Jack. He was 23.
Oh.
And he was a bomber, as in like he flew a plane?
No, oh, yeah, he was a fighter pilot. He was a fighter pilot. He was escorting the bombers, you know, to bomb Germany. He was on the escort. Yeah, but he got his plane crashed and down he went.
So you had 3 siblings plus
So there was Ernie, Jack,
I'm the fourth. My mother had 4 kids.
Agnes, right?
Yeah, Agnes.
Now was Agnes just the one before you?
Yeah, just before, and she died about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And she was 84 when she died. My sister.
What? Wait a second. Didn't you get the memo? The guys are supposed to live 8 years shorter than the women? What's going on with you?
The men are living. The men are living longer. Well, a bunch of old guys here. You know, they're all 91, 92, 92. Hey, there's one lady down in the next block. She's older than me, and she's 93, but she's getting pretty frail. But she's 93 years old.
Wow.
That's pretty good when you're not for a woman. All right, for a man too.
Yeah, especially for a man, because men on average live 8 years less than women. I'm pretty sure that's what the stats are.
I think because maybe we work harder, or maybe dangerous jobs, or some damn thing.
Could be.
Well, who knows? You know.
Yeah. Okay. So Swift Current. What was Swift Current like back in the day? You were born in
1926. Not 18. Oh gosh, no. 1926.
That's what I love about your sense of humor. You really remind me of Fred. You know.
Yeah. Oh, I know Fred. Yeah, Fred. Yeah. Born in 1926.
So what was that? What was Swift Current like back in 1926?
There was 5,000 people there.
Okay.
Now today, as far as I know, there's 17,000.
Swift Current, Saskatchewan.
Swift Current, Saskatchewan. It's just east of Medicine Hat.
Bigger than I thought.
You know Medicine Hat?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's east,
Alberta.
Alberta. It's east of there.
Southeast Alberta.
150 miles east of Medicine Hat.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's Swift Current. It's a good size little town.
Okay.
A nice place.
Ernie, what is your oldest memory? How old were you? Can you go back to when you were just a kid?
Oh yeah, I remember my starting school. My mother took me up to the school, and I was in grade 1.
So you're like 5 years old here, 6 years old?
I was 6. But
Okay.
I was only in grade 1 for 6 months. I was out playing one day with the boys, and I picked up something like this here in my pocket.
Okay.
And went down a hill in a wagon, flipped over backward, right on my leg, and broke my leg.
Oh.
And a stranger come along. I was crying. I was just a boy, and he took me. I told him where I lived, and he took me home. Then they took me to the hospital, and I was in the hospital for quite a while with a broken. In grade 1, so they passed me out of grade 1 into grade 2, but I only had half of grade 1.
Okay.
But I managed. So they put me in grade 2 later on.
And that was right at the beginning of the Great Depression in the 30s.
Oh yeah, boy, when money was tight.
Was it?
Oh, money was tight.
Yeah.
Was it ever? You know what a loaf of bread cost? 5 cents. 5 bloody cents for a loaf of bread. And butter, I think, was about 12. 13 cents for a loaf of
Pound of butter.
pound of butter.
And you lived on the farm?
No. I lived in the same. My dad worked for the CPR.
Okay.
They were regulating the trains.
Yeah.
Had a lot of freight in those days going through from, freight up out to Vancouver.
Yeah.
And he was in the office there. Different box cars go here, different box cars go here, picking up stuff. Now that's what he was doing. They're regulating making up the trains. and he worked for the CPR for ages, about 30 years, but his pay was $30 a week. That's what that pay was in those days. And to raise a family on $30 a week, even in those days, you know, things were cheap, but you only had $30 to work with. You know, it was terrible hard. Everything was terrible. You could buy a nice new car, I think they're $400 or $450, something like that.
This is in the dirty 30s.
Dirty 30s, and depression.
So you say everything was terrible. What was terrible?
Well, when there's no money, there's enough. There was a lot of food. We had lots to eat, but we had no money. You know, I mean, my allowance when I was a little boy, I think my dad would give me 25 cents for 2 weeks. Allowance, 25 cents. Well, that was a lot of money from some candy and what have you. But money was really tight then.
Now, did they have internet back then, or Netflix, anything like that?
They didn't even have a fridge. They didn't have a stove. They didn't, no telephone, no nothing.
So what did you do for fun?
Play hockey.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, we played hockey all the time, in the winter time.
Okay.
In the summertime, we're down the river because it's so damn hot.
Okay, what's the coulee? I always heard them talking about going swimming in the coulee.
The coulee?
No, the coulee, that's out in your farm. That's just a bunch of hills and where they had the cattle and whatnot. That's the coulee. No, there was a river went through the swift current, a river wider than this room here. And the boys and I would go down and swim most of the time.
Okay.
The coulees, that's just hills, and it's just the topography of the ground. But like Saskatchewan is pretty flat.
Yeah.
It is flat.
Pretty flat.
If you're driving your car, you can see for infinity. You
can kind of see the curve of the earth, can you?
Damn near. And that way, and there's no bridges. And that's why it's cheap. It's cheaper to live in Saskatchewan. They don't have bridges. They don't build ships. They don't have this, and it's farming.
Yeah, but we don't have snow removal in Vancouver, so.
No, well, there they have 40 below though.
Oh.
It gets a little chilly, 40 below.
Gosh.
Well, that's it. Now this is what I remember my dad telling me. In the little house that he lived in.
Yeah.
He said that they would go to bed with a hot water bottle at night, and in the morning it would be frozen, solid.
Yes.
True?
Yes. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
My bedroom, it was about half the size from here to Haida. My mother we had no water, no running water. The guy would come every week, and we had a 45-gallon barrel here and a 45-gallon barrel in my bedroom. And the guy would fill it up. That's 90 gallons. In the morning, in the wintertime, and where I was sleeping, my barrel of water was frozen. And I'm sleeping right here, and it's freezing. And to get a drink of water, I used to have to break the ice. Oh. That was drinking water. The other barrel was from my mother for cooking. Now, that was in the kitchen, so that didn't freeze. But where I was sleeping, now the houses in those days were terrible. There's no insulation, no nothing.
I don't know how they survived.
They had storm windows. They call them storm windows. They had extra windows just like that, and they put them on the outside of the house, on your windows. So you got 2 windows. Your outside storm window. They only put them on for winter time, and then in the spring you take them off. But there was no insulation in those houses. It was just a house. And there was no gyprock. It was just wood. The boards, just boards.
Well, I mean, I went and saw the place. I couldn't believe it, the size, the little bits of. But the other thing that they told me was that in the winter it was so cold they would bring the pigs in, and the kids would ride the pigs around the pot-belly stove to heat them up. And when that one was finished, they'd bring another one in.
Well, that must have been maybe your grandma's farm. We didn't have where I lived.
Yeah,
we
was on the farm.
Yeah, on the farm. Yeah. How your grandma and your grandfather built that house, they had nothing. Your dad, he had a saw and a hammer, no electricity, nothing, just your muscles to build a house. They wouldn't do it today. and I don't think the insulation. There was no insulation in those days. Now these walls are all full of insulation. In those days, there was nothing. Nothing.
And out in that temperature.
And the temperature was...
Well, yeah, but millennials also have it pretty tough these days.
Oh, they live like... People live like kings today.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's odd. Now, tell us about your parents. What do you remember most about them?
Well, my mother and dad were born in Yorkshire. Bradford, Yorkshire.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's
England,
right. That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, and that they were born in, what let me say now, my memory, 1896 or something like that, way hell and gone back.
Yeah, yeah.
Married, you say then? Married, you say?
No, they were born.
They were born.
Yeah.
But when the war come,
World War II?
no, this is World War I.
Wow.
What happened? Your grandma Moreland, your grandma, and they'd come from England in 1901 or 1902.
Okay.
They moved for some reason or other. So my dad come with them, and they come to why they come to Swift Current, God only knows. You know, I don't know.
Well, you know what I heard? That Robert Moreland,
Yeah.
he was a real drunk and they had to get him the heck out of the town.
Oh, did they? Robert Moreland.
And that's why George, my
Yeah.
grandpa, came with him.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what I remember being told.
Robert Moreland. I don't know the name at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, my dad and mother come. My dad, not my mother. My dad, he come over, 01, 02, way back, you know. And they settled in. He and his brother come with him. There's two brothers, Jack Hunt, the first Jack. Well, I got two. This is Jack Hunt, but I had another Jack Hunt, my uncle.
Okay.
So they come to Swift Current, way back when. Now, as soon as the war broke out in 1916, Jack Hunt, he went back to England to join the army. Well, he gets killed at the battle, some battle he was in. And my dad, when he heard about it, he went back to England and he joined the British Army. So what did they do? They put him in the trenches. You know, the mud and the lice, and he was there for 2 years in the trenches. And he said it drove him half crazy because he says they had to cut all the hair off your head, because they were lousy. They're in the trenches, mud, and they ate for eating. They had corned beef. You know, there's corned beef. That's all there was. They throw him a can of corned beef, and then you had to fight, and not much to eat. And he was in there for 2 years. He told me one day they had to crawl through barbed wire, like from here to there. And on the damn barbed wire, German barbed wire, like hell, it was made in England. The barbed wire was made in England. The Germans somehow had got all this barbed wire and they strung it up across. But it's made in England. My dad said, here I'm an English, I'm an English soldier crawling through English barbed wire. Well, the Germans got it somehow, whoever got it. But when they went through, of course, you catch your uniform. Yeah. If you put your head up, you're dead. He said you had to be right down on the ground, right on the dirt. And he said he hurt his elbows and his knees crawling. Wow. But he said he was so mad because he was going through English barbed wire, and you know you can't go through barbed wire. You're supposed to cut it, but they didn't have any cutters, you know. But he'd done that for a couple of years and he said it was horrible. They had horses in those days. There's no tanks. It was all manpower. They had horses. He said, for pulling the guns. But with rains so damn much over in France and Belgium, the horses would get stuck in the mud.
Oh God!
And the men would try to get the horses out. He says, you can't get the bloody horse out. It weighs a ton, and the guys are up to their butt in mud. Oh. So what they do? Shoot the horse. Just shoot the horse. You can't get it out, and you can't let it starve to death, so they just shot it right there. In fact, even today, the damn bones of those horses are still there. But it acted on his mind, you know. It was so terrible that, and then you're fighting the Germans, you know, the bullets flying here, there, But
Wow.
that was he had 2 years of that, and but he said at nighttime you go to bed. If you're wet, your boots are wet, you're wet. He said, Jesus Christ, you can't say, oh, you're lousy. They'd take him out once in a while and give him a bath. Go somewhere, if there is a place, have a bath. When they come back again, you're lousy again, all the lice. He said, under your arms, your crotch, your hair, you're lousy. You have to cut all his hair off. And it was terrible. He said, it drove him half crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
But anyways, he met my mother there. I don't know how he met her, but he met her somewhere, my mother. So they were married, and he was only a young guy. He was only, I think you said he was 27. 27, you're full of, and at 27 you can do anything.
Yeah,
but
sure.
boy, if you get 2 years in the mud and the lice and nothing to eat, and I don't know what to drink, and you lost weight, and you're supposed to fight, get your rifle and fight.
Yeah.
He said it was just too much for him. But he married my mother, and by this time I think he said he was about 28, something like 27, 29. He married my mother. Where he met her, I don't know. He met her somewhere, my mother. And after the war, he did survive. They come back to Swift Current again, back to Canada, back to Swift Current. Well, my mother, over in England, I mean, it's a mild climate, it's not, and to put her out there at 40 below, and also they had just a skirt, when women, they didn't have no trousers, just a skirt, and
So
when she washed the clothes, had an old washing machine, she washed the clothes in the wet, to take them on and put them on the line. As soon as they get on the line, boom, they're frozen. Yeah. You got a sheet this big, solid bloody ice on the clothesline. Well, and they sure smelt nice though. Well, they do. When they've been frozen, then later on, it wouldn't take long. She'd bring them back in, and she had strung up some lines in the kitchen, and there's a big stove, a big stove like this. And you had to get the stove going to dry the clothes. So she had put some nails there and here, and she had some strings. And she'd hang up the laundry close to the stove to dry.
Well, I would think that the stove would be on to heat the house as well.
That stove was worth $1 million. Without the stove, you would die. And now me, I had a bath once a week. Now, the stove at the end of the stove, there's a jacket about this big, full of water. And then to heat it up, of course, you have the fire going. That stove had to keep going all the time to heat the water. Now, on a certain day, it was a bath day. It wasn't a bath day for me, it was for my sister. We had no bathtub. There was no nothing. There was no nothing. We had a round tub about this big. She got the nice warm water. So my sister, so everybody cleared out the kitchen and put some chairs up and some towels and give her some privacy. My sister would take a bath.
That was Agnes.
Agnes. When she finished the bath, who got the water? I got the second-hand water. My mother would add some more water to it to warm it up. I got the second-hand water. Now, you don't throw the water out. That's water. Afterwards, I would take the water. We had a hedge outside, a big long hedge. I had to take the water out and put it on the hedge. Because water there, we had no water. We had no sewer. We had no car. We had no fridge. My mother had a
sewer. Where'd you go to the toilet?
Outhouse. It's an outhouse at the end there.
Minus 40.
You're going to sit on your butt. Well, you do it in a damn hurry. Because
you bring some cloth to put over the toilet seat so that you don't freeze your bum.
Yeah. It was a toilet there, and it's cold, bloody. But we had no bathroom. There was no bathroom, and in fact, the carpenters in those days, how now you got a bunch of houses, a bunch of bathrooms for your, not bathroom, bedrooms. You got 6 bedrooms. I got 2 here. in those days they didn't make bedrooms, bathrooms, because there's no bathrooms. There was no bathtubs. There was no toilets. What the hell do you want that for? They were just bedrooms. There was no plumbing of any sort. The toilet out there, or the big stove, that was the other two, you know. And my mother had, ever heard of an ice box?
No, sure.
An ice box?
Oh, sure.
You ever seen
Paul
one?
Williams used to deliver ice
Yeah.
I've seen them, yeah. Pictures of them. I don't know if I ever.
with the big picks.
Yeah.
We had an ice box about this high, but at the top was about this big. And the man would come every, once a week or something like that, or with a big block of ice, like this big. He had the big tongs, pick it up and shove it in there and shut the door.
Yeah. Well, at 1220 Barclay, I mean, Grandma used to have the ice box upstairs.
Yeah. Well, there was no fridge. I bought my Laurel a fridge. The first fridge I ever saw, or I bought one in 1950. I bought a fridge for Laurel. But she was so happy. I got a fridge. Now, it was pretty expensive. I mean, that was $400. That was a hell of a lot of money. But a fridge. Now, my son's got two fridges. I got one fridge, just one here. But in those days, it was ice box. But you put your ice here. My mother had the food down below. We had in the kitchen, the stupidest thing you ever saw. You walk in the door, and there's a trap door there. There was a cellar. Somebody had dug a hole in the ground, and some shelves in a good size, this big, just to store the stuff. But that was right by the kitchen door. Now sometimes when that door would be open, I fell down a couple of. You walk in the kitchen when you're a kid, and the goddamn door's open. Somebody's down there getting some stuff. There's a set of steps to get down into the cellar. And I fell down a couple of times. You walk, oh Christ! All of a sudden you're down. It's a wonder I didn't break my bloody neck. But that was just to keep your food cool, nice and cool down there. Same as your grandma on the farm. She'd have somewhere. She'd have a cooler,
Yeah.
just a hole in the ground, but it's nice and cool, you know.
Well, did you ever play with Dad?
Oh no. You're Fred.
Yeah.
No. He's quite a lot older than me.
About 16 years.
Oh, yeah, a lot older than me. Yeah. No, I used to go out on the farm, and he was there with Hilda and not Denny. Denny, he was.
He was out here.
He was out here.
My grandfather.
I'm
Our
1220
grandfather.
Barclay.
Right.
Yeah, but Fred was there and Hilda was there.
And what about Augusta, Bob's mom? Was she already out in Vancouver, or was she there?
Who's that?
Augusta?
They sold the farm or left the farm.
Okay.
In the 20s, I think?
Your
No.
grandma and George Moreland, they left the farm. In those days, they had no machinery. They had horses.
Right.
And you have to make any money, you gotta be able to grow enough wheat. But all of it was just your grandfather with horses to plow it with, you know. You should see what they plow with today. A relation of mine there, he plows, well, he's dead now, 70 feet at a crack, 70 feet with a big machine that's wider than this. One swat, and he had a big farm. But with your dad, your grandfather, he had horses. But you can't do enough. It's too small.
And the land's very hard there, right? It's not that fertile, is it?
Well, they grew quite a bit, but they couldn't make enough money.
No.
You know, the farm was too small. They didn't have any equipment. Fred was there, and your grandfather, and Aunt Augusta. See, Aunt Augusta is my dad's sister.
Right.
Her name was Hunt, Augusta Hunt, and then she married my.
So many Augustas, it gets confusing.
What?
So many Augustas, it gets confusing.
Well, her, you know what Augusta means?
What?
Great.
Great?
As far as I know, it means great. Augusta, you're great, Augusta. You're strong.
I never heard that.
Well, she married Moreland, your grandfather. My aunt did.
Yeah. And then they moved out in the 30s, I think, around 36 or something to Vancouver.
They had the rooming house at 901 Hornby.
Yeah.
That's what I remember, and I remember like I was born in 42.
Yeah.
So at least 46, 4 years later, I remember going to that place in the 40s.
Yeah, 901 Hornby Street. Now that place today,
I know.
oh, it'd be worth $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Well, even 1220 Barclay would be worth a lot of
Now,
money. Yeah.
your grandma, Augusta, she had a house right next door today, the Hotel Vancouver.
Wow.
Very close.
Dead center.
Next, she had the house.
Yeah.
You know what that house would be worth today? I couldn't say. It'd be 10, 20. The property.
Yeah.
She sold that. She went to 901 Hornby, Augusta, and she was there for a long time.
Now, did she buy that then? Because that was her rooming house. and
That was her room.
business.
That was the rooming house. Yeah.
But they had bought that property.
Yeah, they bought the
Yeah.
property. Then now where the today, where the law firm or whatever it is, it's right on that property now today. You know, they tore it all down.
Yeah.
Oh, the law court?
The law courts and all that. What do you call it in Vancouver?
Robson.
Yeah, where all the lawyers and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
That's sitting right on her property. So she didn't realize it, of course, but
Right.
that property, she was sitting on 901 Hornby. Today, that's a million.
Oh, yeah, they got
Yeah.
big fancy
And
rooms.
King George.
But in those days, it was just a regular house.
Yeah.
And King George School was there? Right
Yeah,
nearby?
there was King George.
The original King George before it burned down?
Yeah.
But you went to school in
and-
Swift Current.
Yes.
When did you come out?
I come out here when I was 16 when I got here.
Okay. And so you already graduated from high school?
No, I got to grade 11. The war was on, and my dad he didn't want to do it anymore in the railway, so we moved to Vancouver, and I was 16. As soon as I got here, I was 17. And the war was on, so I had to go to work. So I had to get a job. So when they sent me down to the employment to get a job, so what did they do? Put me in the shipyards. I never heard of a bloody ship. I told the guys, I don't know nothing about a ship from Saskatchewan. I can show you some cows, but I don't know a damn thing about a ship.
You're good at that milking, huh?
Yeah, milk the damn thing. Anyways, they put me in the shipyard. Now, they had a school in the shipyards for welders. And I said to the guy, I don't know nothing about welding. I don't know nothing. I'm just a kid. But they put me through the school, and I'm an expert now. I'm a real expert now. And I took this course, and they had a school in the shipyards for welders. So I took that course in the shipyards. So that's how I ended up. Now my pay, everybody's pay in those days was 77 cents an hour. If you walked through the door, that was your pay. Didn't matter you or you anybody else. 77 cents, that was the pay. So I was learned to be a welder. 77 cents. That was a hell of a lot of money. I mean, for nothing to get 77 cents an hour. And then when I got to be a little bit better welder, I got 90 cents. And 90 cents an hour in those days was, it's like $50 today. You know, that's a lot. 90 cents an hour.
Yeah.
Now, when you got the best welders got $1. But I didn't get that far. The war quit. They put me out in the boats. And I'm a good welder now. I'm an expert. But I was just learning, and I was out on the boat in North Vancouver, where they're building them today, over here. You can go across and get a job welding. And they called me in the Army. And I was 19. 19, so I got an Army call. So I went up to Little Mountain Barracks, 25th and Canby,
Right.
me and a whole bunch of young boys. And when we were in there, what's your name? And they took all your particulars to give you lunch. We're there all day. He said, come back next day. I said, okay. So I come back next day. I sat down. The war is over. The war is over. The war is over. An officer come in. He said, the war is over.
Now this is World War II.
World War II. I said, I only got here, and the war is over. Go home.
They were afraid of you.
Yeah, now we were going to fight Japs. And he said, go home. A bunch of boys. And the officer came in and said, the war is over. So I was in the Army. I wasn't in the Army. I was in 2 days. I was in there for 2 days, getting some lunch, So I went home. That's all it was. So,
But did you say we had a draft? Were you drafted?
I was.
I didn't realize we had a draft in
I-
Canada.
They pulled me out the shipyards, and they needed soldiers. What they wanted to do, they wanted to send me and everybody else to Japan to fight the Japs. And then this is 1940,
45?
44, 43, 44, around 44, whatever. You know, they were going to fight the Japs, me and everybody else. You know, but then of course they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. You know, the atomic bomb. They obliterated that. It killed 180,000 people, just like that. They dropped the bomb. The whole city's gone.
How did you feel about that?
Well, it didn't bother me, and they were Japs, because what they did, you've heard of Pearl Harbor?
Yeah.
They slaughtered Pearl Harbor. That's one of the worst things in history. The Japs, any battle, Pearl Harbor, they weren't even at war, and then the bastards come up on a Sunday morning with the Japanese, and they bombed Pearl Harbor. They were there for, I think there were 3 hours, bombed the hell out of Pearl Harbor. They wanted to knock the American Navy out. Then they could come up further up. But the only problem, they didn't realize the American aircraft carriers weren't there. They had 3 or 4 carriers were out doing an exercise somewhere, and they weren't there, but they were after the carriers. But they sunk the battleships, killed 2,400 American soldiers were killed that day. And they were out having breakfast or something like that, and here the bloody planes come over and killed everybody. So anyways, they wanted to, that's when they decided to make the atomic bomb, and the Hiroshima, and Nagasaki about a few days later, another Japanese city. They dropped another bomb on there, obliterated, I forget how many, 100,000 people. Just like that. It's so hot, everybody melts. It just melts. Everybody down below, anyways, the war was over. At that time, I'm sitting up here at the barracks here, and then they dropped the bomb. So the guy walks in, officer, the war is over. Go home, go home. So I did.
So you were a welder all your life?
Yeah. I've been welding for 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I was working on. Right, see this picture right here? Right there, under the candy. I was making gasoline tanker trucks. Right here, I'll make you.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
This in here, these here, they're $300,000, but that's the truck. See the truck here? Mm-hmm. There's the truck, right there.
Let's put it like this.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, $300,000.
Well, that's the whole shebang, everything. Mm-hmm. And I was there for 20 years we were making logging trailers, and I took another course. I've had several courses welding. Even today, if I went back welding today, I'd have to brush up. Right. It's getting more automated, you know. But in those days, you do it by hand. You got to weld like along that seam right there, all along there, right. Weld it to keep it together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but now it's automated now with yeah.
I don't know. I'm just blown away. I can't believe you're 92 and you've got such a sharp memory. What is your secret to your vitality, Ernie?
Well, I don't smoke. You can't weld and smoke. I mean, when you're welding, you got the fumes.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want those fumes. Now today, we just had I got the helmet right in my bed. My helmet. But now today, the people that have a helmet, they have on the back they have a tank of oxygen. Bringing in oxygen here. We didn't have it. But you can't smoke cigarettes and weld and get all that crap down your lungs. So I don't smoke. And I didn't drink much either. Yeah. But the reason the way I am today, it must be my English heritage. You know, they've been going, the Hunt name, my name goes back about 2,000 years in England. Way back, way hell. Now the reason they got Hunt, whatever job you did in England years ago, the people, the Normans had come over, and nobody had a name. They had the first name, Mary, John, whatever. They had no name. Well, what's your name? I don't have a bloody name. So that the Normans or somebody, whatever job you were doing, that was your name. Now my relations were hunters. They put the meat on the table, so to speak, and that's why I'm a hunt.
Well, where do you think Moreland came from?
I got damn to find it.
Moreland.
What more land?
Yeah, where is it all?
And like Smith.
Blacksmith.
There's blacksmith, silversmith, blues, all the smiths. A carpenter, a painter, whatever job you did, that was your name, because they didn't have any names. This is English people. So the Normans, way back when they come over, and these English were so damn dumb, they got no names. And they couldn't differentiate who's who, so you had to have a name.
All those white people look the same, that's why.
So it was the Normans, I think, they come, wherever they come from. From France. They come across.
That would make Hyde and I the son of Christ then, being a Christiansen.
Yeah, now Christensen said, I don't know what.
Scandinavian.
Yeah, well, see, that just applied to England. They didn't have any like Brown, or a baker. His name was, if you were a baker, okay, that's your name, baker. A carpenter, your name is Carpenter. Smith, or whatever happened to, whatever you did, that was your name.
So that's where Smith would come from being a smithsman.
Well, see,
Blacksmith, yeah.
But in those days, the soldiers, they all had the mail on, whatever armor, It took an expert to make that stuff.
Right.
And that was a tinsmith, or whatever you want to call them. That's what they made. So that's how you're smith. There's lots of smiths: goldsmith, silversmith, tinsmith, every smith you can think of, and that's where the smiths come from. And that's just England. I don't think that was Scotland or Wales. That was just England itself. They all got different names, and that's where the name come from. So I'm a hunt.
Interesting.
Because they were hunters. They would bring in deer.
So did you do any hunting in Saskatchewan?
Yes and no. We didn't have any money for guns. No, and my dad, he would not have a gun in the house. He said he had enough guns in the war. He wouldn't allow any guns in the house. Oh no, he wouldn't. He was just terrified of guns. He had his rifle when he was in the army. But he said when it's finished, he threw the goddamn thing away. I don't want it. But no, but I didn't do any hunting. No, we were down the river most of the time. We were in the water swimming, playing.
Did you ever work on the farms?
No. I was just a boy.
Yeah. How old were you when you came out then?
16.
I was 16 when I got here.
Yeah.
When I landed here, but the next August, I was 17. I just had my birthday. That's when they put me in the ship, and I told the guys, I never seen a ship. What the hell do I know about a ship? I never even.
So do you have any memories? Any special memories with Grandma Hilda, with my grandma?
Oh yeah. Hilda used to put me up on the horse. They had two horses.
Runty.
Runty was a small horse, and Sparky was a white horse. Just excuse me.
Oh, I remember that name, Sparky.
Just excuse me.
Okay, we're here with Ernie Hunt, the Big E from Big E TV. Ernie is our great uncle. He's 92 years old, and he's sharing some of the stories from back in the day.
Yeah. Now, that white horse, Sparky. These Indians, this is a long time. My aunt, your grandma, she was out working, doing something, and these Indians come along with the horses. And this one horse was sick. He said the damn thing was just like this. And the Indians didn't want it. And I don't know how they spoke to him, but anyways, here, give her the horse. She give your grandma this horse. And she must have known something about horses. She took the thing in the barn and get something to eat and something to drink. She said after about a week, it was okay. It was starving. And the damn Indians didn't know enough to feed the horse because it was just grass. They were just feeding grass. That's all it was, the Indians. And so the horse was fine. And big white horse. So Hilda I was just a little shaver. She'd pick me up, stick me on the back of this bloody great horse, and lead me around the farm, for a ride on the back of a horse. That was the big horse. Now the grunty was a smaller horse, about this big, more my size. And Hilda would put me on that one too.
No.
And not Fred, just it was Hilda. And we'd go for a ride on a horse, on your farm. Then she'd say, Ernie, go down and get the water. By the barn, they had a big, for the horses to drink, a great big, and there's a pump right there. So she sent me down, and the pump, you have to prime it first. The pump, a big pump. And you have to prime it with some water, and then as soon as I start filling up the tub, the horses would come up. They could smell the fresh water. They want to drink. So I'm pumping away here, and I got about when I was just a kid, about 5 horses looking at me. I said, you stay there, buddy. You're too goddamn big for me. And as long as I was pumping, I was okay. I pumped the water, and the horses all had to drink. I never forgot that. She had horses, and I didn't. They were work horses. They weren't. They were work horses. Yeah.
Well, now I understand. Like besides the horses, there were pigs on the farm.
Oh yeah. Your grandma had a
Pigs apparently.
Yeah, my sister and I, we done something stupid. There was a sow, a big sow, pig, this big, and we started to tease it. We should never do that to a pig.
Oh, really?
We got that damn pig so mad, but she was in a cage. She was in an enclosure, and that damn thing was. Oh, if it got a hold of us, my sister and I, it would have killed us. But she had her what do you call her?
Litter?
Her litter, and they have about 8 or 10 babies this big, but we stayed away. But we teased the mother pig there, and we shouldn't. Well, I realize now we're stupid. If she'd have got a hold of us, she would have killed us. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Now that they got strong jaws.
Oh yeah, and they eat anything too.
Is that right?
Anything.
Well, they do. They eat any. That's why the people that come here are mostly Islam or what they're called.
Islamic, yeah.
Yeah, they don't touch pork. They don't even touch it. If they even touch it, they get shit because they don't even touch the pork.
Because it eats anything. The pigs.
Now the trouble is, I go down to the store down here, and they're run by Iranians. They have bacon. They have bacon and eggs. They have the. I thought to myself, what do you mean? There's bacon. They don't sell pork. They don't sell pork, but they do sell pork. It's in bacon, and but it's in a package. They're not touching the meat.
Gotcha.
So I go down once in a while and get some bacon, but I felt like telling them I don't argue with them because that's their religion. They don't touch. If you touch pork, they go nuts because you touch pork. Pigs to them, they eat anything. Pigs do. They eat anything, any damn thing, whatever. That's why they don't like pigs, because they eat everything.
They're considered dirty.
Yeah, well, they are. They are not the Canadian ones, because they're all fed grain in Alberta or wherever it comes from. They're fed corn. They're well fed here, but on farms and whatnot, they eat any goddamn thing. Doesn't matter what pig. That's why they don't.
They won't eat onion skins. I'll tell you that.
Won't they?
They won't eat onion skins or orange peels.
Won't they?
Okay, we'll be back after this important message from the station identification. I'm with Ernie Hunt here. He's talking about pigs and Swift Current, and we're going to talk more about Vancouver and the wonderful life that you have had.
I'm imagining when I got to about 80, I thought, well, I'm 80. I'm coming along pretty good.
You're doing awesome.
81, 82. And my wife died at 84. She died, Laurel. And I was 84, she was 84, but I was fine. 85, 86, 87, 88.
Wow.
Just keep going as long as you're breathing. I got to 90, got to 91.
And then yesterday, and you fit in our family because our dad was born May 9th, height is the 18th. And then I'm June 9th. Colin's July 9th.
June the 9th.
I'm June 9th.
Yeah.
My brother's July 9th. And you're August 9th.
August
so
the
you
9th,
fit
yeah,
right
yeah.
in with our trend there.
Yeah.
And Frida's May 21st, I believe. Okay.
She fixed it
we're
with
back.
grandma.
It's hard to keep track of all these birthdays. Oh yeah.
Not yours, Ned. Not when you
Yeah.
turn 92.
92. How long I'm gonna live is anybody's guess.
Oh,
Got a few years.
100's looking good.
Another,
Okay.
maybe 2 more. Who knows?
Come on.
What?
20 more.
Yeah. Your grandma was 96, so
That's true.
And Dad was 96.
yeah. So I could go a little